Welcome to Earth Centric Lighting for everything lighting related and how to use lighting in your projects and life. Hello, you guys, and welcome to the podcast for Earth Centric Lighting. Today, I just want to do a quick one to talk about because I realize I kind of have it in my bio, but I haven't really talked about it. What is Earth Centric Lighting? Um, that's the title of the podcast, and a lot of people are probably like, what the heck does that even mean? So I just kind of want to discuss it a little bit about what it means to me and some definitions of centric lighting and what's out there already. Right now, there's a big buzz going around it's been going around for a lot of years about human-centric lighting, meaning like human-centered lighting, focusing about how lighting affects humans and everything. And that's why I came up with Earth-centric lighting because if you think about it, we have evolved to the sun the last 300,000 years. I'm going to say that a lot. Uh, it's not just humans that live on this planet, so that's why it's Earth, encompass the Earth-centric lighting, because this light bulb that was invented 150 years ago has so much potential for good and also at the same time has potential to be bad if we're not using it correctly. I think it's this Earth-centric lighting podcast is everything focused around the Earth and centered lighting. So, like, for example, I want topics from like good and bad perspectives. I'm just going to use an example here. UVC. UVC, ever since COVID came out, manufacturers developed this ultraviolet. Uh, they didn't, well, it already exists, but it can be harmful to humans, but it also kills bacteria. So they developed this light that disinfects, which is great, I think, for surgical suites, but probably not so much for the rest of day-to-day life. And manufacturers, God bless their hearts, I love them, I use them all the time, but sometimes people are just so eager to sell. I would see these things and people couldn't tell, but they're photoshopping them in restaurants and schools to make it look like other people are doing it. Here you go, you should do it too. And it really rubbed me wrong because I don't agree with that. I'm more, as you can probably tell, I don't know if tree hugger is the right word because I like to hunt and fish and hike, and I'm a man. I love doing guy things and action movies, but I'm also very aware of our natural biology and human health, and I believe that there's a lot of good bacteria in our body too that we need. So I don't believe in killing it all. And if it's doing that to the bacteria, what is it doing to your body? So it'd be good to have someone on the podcast who really believes in the UVC and understands it and what their side is. And it'd be good to have someone who's like, yeah, this is not good for you. This is why, here's why. I want to hear from both sides. So the viewers would have the knowledge and at least from a couple different experts so they can make the choices themselves. They're not being pushed back into a corner because there's a lot with lighting that we just don't know yet. I'll try to get off the topic of UVC, but I remember there's one manufacturer I asked, it's like, is this really good for you? There's no way because people can barely keep track of their own control systems in the commercial. And they're trying to say that it's on a control system. So when people aren't around, that's when it turns on. Or if they're not on that floor, I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense if the control system's working perfectly, like it always does. Wink, wink. And then, well, what happens to the light wave when, say, this is a commercial space like a hospital and the surgical suite is on floor um, two, and then people are on floor three and the light is shining up. That's what it does. It shines up, so it's away from people. They're like, oh, well, it doesn't go anywhere else. It just hits the ceiling. That's not totally true because yes, light is energy and it hits an object and part of that gets absorbed, but the other part gets reflected back. That's like the color that we see. So there's some of it passes through, some of it bounces back, and it doesn't just all go away. So topics like that, and then like light pollution. A lot of people aren't aware of light pollution. Like what is dark sky and what even constitutes as light pollution? Like, and I moved away from the topic of UVC, just so you guys know, but there's other topics out here, light pollution would be like light trespass, sky glow, uh, using bright blue light at night because usually you want the warm, softer light because blue light stimulates and wakes you up. Um, uh, those are just a few examples, eliminating glare, things like that. Uh, enough safety in certain areas that require it. You want adequate amounts of light, and maybe that means putting it on an occupancy sensor so when people show up to that space, that parking lot, it goes full 100% bright. So that way there's safety, they feel safe and they can see where they're going. But then when they leave, after 5 minutes, it ramps back down to 10% or even off. That way you're saving energy and not contributing to sky glow or any other light pollution type scenarios, which I think is really, really, really good. A lot of people don't like it, but I do think that we do need that some type of mitigation for the lighting, especially at night. Um, what else is there? I mean, there's so many different topics you can go into with Earth centric lighting. I would think even especially I like learning about neurobiology, neuroscientists to study a lot with light and color, um, and ophthalmology as well too. Uh, you'd even talk about astrology or cosmology. Cosmology is the state of the universe, not cosmetology, which is like makeup. So uh, yeah, that don't not to be confused, but I think a lot of different topics and education, no points that people can learn about lighting and how all the way from like we're talking about UVC, potential hazardous lighting, um, to light pollution, that type of stuff, all the way to, how to use light to affect the retail space and make it look really good or affect your home. Because I got this PowerPoint presentation I was doing for design. I don't think a lot of people talk about this. So there's layers of light. There's task lighting, there's accent lighting, and there's ambient lighting. And you change the way you talk about it, you change the way we view it. So ambient lighting becomes the glow in the space. Accent becomes creating a feeling, how we feel in the space. Task becomes how do you perform in the space. So analyzing breaking down your space, which areas are task areas, which ones are the ambient is usually the whole space, which ones are you wanting to accent. Those of you listening, you can't see, but I have an image behind me. There's three art pieces on the wall. There's some aimable out downlights that are highlighting the three art pieces. There's a couple vertical wall sconces that are doing up downlight to highlight the vertical wall. There's other downlights just filling in the gap. There's a graze light leaving the ceiling to hit the brick fireplace. Um, there's lines of light in the ceiling to be more artistic instead of just a typical downlight and add more ambient light to the space. This is called layering, and you have task, accent, and ambient all in one space. But the other two layers that people don't really talk about, excuse me, is one of these layers is controls. So lighting control, and you change the language on that, it becomes adjustability and versatility. And then you put all those together, the layer that you get that I really want to get to is health and wellness. You're getting a home that can adjust and mimic the sun, and you're eliminating things like glare. You're bringing in light to the vertical space so it feels bigger and brighter. You're eliminating the cave effect. Um, I really think that people, who are building these nice homes can make their space look and feel really nicely. And then if you're not in a nice home, if you're one of those like the rest of the population, you can listen to this and get some advice on maybe how to make the lighting right in your own space if you're a do-it-yourselfer or even just want to create an environment where maybe your sleep is really good. If you can get your lighting uh, aligned with that, that would really help out. So just a broad range of topics with this Earth-centric lighting instead of just thinking all about we're going to talk a lot about humans and how light affects humans, but also like as a whole, Earth Centric Lighting. I think that's good. And um, you guys can call me a hippie if you want. I don't care. Just kidding. But I think, yeah, there's lots of cool things that light can do. And light can really do a lot for us if it's used correctly. Um, if it's used incorrectly, it can do not so many good things, you know? So just talking about it, uh, creating a space where people can get on and share their side of it is really what I want to do. So, okay, I hope you guys enjoyed today's show and that gave you a little bit of enlightenment for what ECL is, Earth Centric Lighting. If you want to support us or find out more about what we're doing, you can go to our website. I don't have a website for just specifically for ECL just yet because since it is like it's not a profit type thing. I'm not trying to advertise or do any of that stuff. I just put it on my design website because it is tied into it. It's a big part of what I want to do with lighting design. So if you go to tklightingdesign.com, that's TKLIGHTINGDESIGN.com, you'll see there's tabs up above that say home, lighting design, ECL, portfolio. I have just a page dedicated on that website for Earth Centric Lighting, and you click ECL, or you enter in the web address /ECL, and you can see all the podcast episodes. You can see what is Earth Centric Lighting there. You can see the light pollution map, and I'm working on educational courses as well. And you can support ECL on Patreon. I believe it might not be active anymore, but otherwise, you should be able to do some type of donation or reach out to sign up for the podcast too. If you want to do an interview, if you have some topics that you're wanting to get out there as well, please reach out. Again, thank you guys very much.